Hey guys, in today's lesson we're going to discuss self-acceptance, which is in itself a massive topic, but hopefully I can get you a few ideas as to how to start accepting yourself. So the biggest concept that I've understood with self-acceptance is that to be truly happy, you have to acknowledge and accept yourself. Otherwise, if you're always living in a state of rejecting yourself, you're never going to grow properly. It's actually going to reinforce a lot of old negative beliefs that keep you stuck in a rut. So let's start talking a little bit on the pathway to start accepting yourself. I believe that to grow, release those old coping mechanisms and unwrap the layers of yourself, you must acknowledge first of all, and then accept all of that you are. So whether that's the dark and the light, good, bad, things that you love, things that you do not love so much. But to do that, it's going to take a little bit of time. So if we were children, we generally have a sense of self-acceptance from the beginning. You may notice babies obviously don't have much self-esteem issues, but what happens is over time we start to develop complexes of things that happen around us, whether it's from our parents or friends or peers. They're all ways that we learn to live in the society that we are and how we try and accept and understand the world. But unfortunately, a lot of those concepts can start to come on top of us and degrade us down a little bit so that we don't think that we're worthy enough of ourselves. So trying to understand that as a concept is a little bit challenging, but you've probably noticed there's a lot of times in your life where you've tried to prove your worthiness or prove that you are able to do something to get some form of reward in return to that, and most of that is just the belief that you are good enough to have something. What we're trying to think here is you yourself are good enough for everything that you deserve, but learning to understand that is the hard part. All right. Now, a big thing that people often say is, oh, so with self-acceptance, how does that increase my ability to make myself grow? Like, where's the push there to improve? Like, that's ironically how most people are in the zone of. Remember what I said a while ago about being in a fight or flight mode? If you're constantly thinking that you need to escape from something, you're going to be very survivalist, you're going to be very desperate, you're going to try and get out of a situation in the probably the worst way possible. Whereas if you're in a nice, loving, relaxed state, you're more likely to grow and actually unwrap who you really are, which of course leads to your true happiness, not just in yourself, but also in other areas of your life. So self-acceptance is not complacency. So a lot of people think that if they've got something that they're not too sure about themselves, they think shrinking, ignoring, avoiding the problem, getting into a what's the use or an effort mindset is not the place that we want to be. Of course, this is not going to reinforce old patterns and beliefs, and you're not going to grow at all. The reason I'm talking so much about self-acceptance in its, wholeness is it's not actually self-love. It's an important step towards self-love. So a lot of the social media is talking about self-love at the moment, and it's complete body acceptance, body positivity and all that. That's all very well and good, but if you haven't truly accepted who you are right now, then you're never going to reach that complete state of self-love. So let's start by understanding that you need to acknowledge and accept before you can get all the way up to true self-love. But I believe that self-acceptance is caring for yourself from a place of love, not hate. Not wanting to improve because you dislike something, because you want to improve for yourself. Try and look at, when we talk about body image in a minute, we want to make sure that we are focusing on good, not bad motivation for doing that. You also want to look at yourself from an objective, not a subjective point of view. So subjective is quite emotional and judging and, overpowering over a situation, whereas objective is more looking at the facts, looking at your situation and moving forward with facts and information that is correct and that actually is going to help you grow. Also, knowing that your identity comes from the inside, not external opinions of yourself. So the biggest thing we all do is compare or use other people's external opinions as our identity. But the truth of that is you can actually be whoever or whatever you want to be. You just have to know what that is. So finding that from the inside is what counts with this. Also knowing that you don't have to be validated. Like what I said before, you don't have to prove yourself to be good enough. You want to unwrap who you actually are and do what you want to do. And that will mean you can actually go the direction you want, rather than constantly having to prove yourself, getting to a level and realizing that you're not even happy at that place, whether it's with your body, your work, your relationship, or any other part of your life. Having self-acceptance means that you're knowing who you are, what you want, and that you accept all of that, and then moving in the right direction, or the direction that is right for you. Pause there. One aspect that I like to chat about when regards to self-acceptance is understanding the give and receive cycle. So a lot of us, when it comes to self-acceptance, whether it's from yourself, trying to accept yourself, or accepting others, which ironically is just a reflection of trying to accept yourself, we don't often understand that love comes in give and receive. It's a big cycle. And if you're blocking one part of that, then it's going to block the whole flow. So we want to try and make sure that when we are accepting ourselves, we're giving love both to ourselves and letting it out as well. If we can do that and understand that everything goes in a nice flow, then you think the way to grow is through love and it's not through hatred or judgment. So starting with that concept is why I'm going to tie into body image. Now, this is probably one of the biggest topics that a lot of women think about, read about, discuss about. It's big in the media as well, is female body image. It's one of our biggest areas of judgment, our biggest areas of punishment, and also one of the biggest areas of self-insecurity. But it's also your biggest sense of power, because your body is not actually you. You're a soul within a body. So learning how to love that body for what it is and try and give it everything it needs to be the best version of itself is exactly what this program is about and exactly what you should be about. So a few little topics and concepts with body image is we've probably beat our bodies up for our whole lives as women from a very early age, whether that was from an influence from a mother or a figure that you looked up to, or even peers or friends. Often teenage girls are not the best source of confidence, but we can often really berate our bodies and even hate them to a level. But you wouldn't hate your home or where you live. You don't want to hate who you are and what supports you. So while it can be hard to suddenly make amends with your body, understand that the process comes from giving and receiving love. You can't keep hating on your body and you'll continue self-sabotaging, exactly like I talked about in the self-sabotaging seminar. What was it? Article. So we want to try and go from love. I like to use the bit of analogy that seeds grow in a good environment. They grow when there's water and soil. If there's not, they don't sprout through. So seeds can lay dormant for years and years and years. Same with yourself. Like, if you want to be the true version of yourself, you must give it everything that it needs to survive and love. That's not just the physical stuff, like training well, eating well, sleep, water, everything like that. It's also the emotional stuff. So love and making sure you're accepting yourself. So try and have that idea when you're thinking about your body. Plus also have the understanding that nobody is perfect. Like, often if you are, my next topic is like comparison is the thief of joy. If you're comparing yourself to someone on social media or, you know, something in the external world, the media, that's not their reality either. You have to make sure that you are comparing yourself to no one. You're just trying to work on your own journey. If you're trying to compare yourself to somebody else, that's either their highlight reel or they're in a completely different state or part of their journey to you. So there's absolutely no point in doing that. It's only going to keep you feeling that you are not good enough and you're constantly not living up to this bar. Of course, it's great to have inspiration. It's great to be inspired by other women. It's great to be use someone as motivation. But if you're constantly just thinking of yourself in relation to them, it's a completely different thing, okay? And comparison is the thief of joy. Do not rate your ability to be you on comparing yourself to some other external thing. Try and make sure that you are just looking at your progress over time. And if you want to compare yourself to something, compare yourself to how much you've improved and changed in the period of time that you're working on yourself. You want to make sure that that is your kind of regard of how you've gone, but also not your value of your worth. And also, if you're thinking about yourself, everybody is unique in their own shapes and sizes and bits and bobs and whatever, but your confidence in yourself is what makes you beautiful and yourself. So if you are absolutely able to improve your body, love it, give it what it needs, and accept it, now that is amazing and that is confidence and that is how you get through this life happy. So please make sure that you are not berating yourself, especially not throughout this program, about your body. You want to make sure that it is the beautiful place that you want to live and that you're giving it love and care. I'll probably discuss this a little bit more detail in the article so you can have a little bit more of a read, but I want you to give yourself those few little tweaks of perspective about your body. Another little topic with regards to self-acceptance is a lot of women have this perfectionism mindset. Or if I can't do it right, I won't do it at all. Or there's no point in doing it unless you do it perfectly. And of course, nothing is perfect. No body is perfect. There's no point in trying to aim for perfection. You want to try and aim for progress. You want to try and aim for consistent unraveling and improving. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to be better or wanting to be more, wanting to go new places or do new things or be slightly different shape, that's all fine. But you have to understand that perfect is not the goal, it's the journey that is the goal. You want to keep always improving and unraveling on that journey. I like to think that perfectionism breeds helplessness as well. So if you're constantly trying to be that best version of whatever, you're going to feel like you can't do it, and you're just going to end up self-sabotaging again and not end up any closer to that goal. In fact, probably further away. So try and get rid of that perfectionist mindset and instead look at a progress mindset and aim to always unravel a little bit more of yourself every week. Do a little bit more of a habit or become more, but not ever perfect. Whatever that even means. A few little ways for building self-acceptance. Some of these are actually very similar to the article I did on self-sabotage, because a lot of the concepts in that are exactly the flip opposite of self-acceptance. Number one is forgiveness is the most important thing. If you're always comparing yourself to something you did in the past or something negative that happened to you, then you're never going to move forward from that. Because once you've learned a lesson, you actually understand it and let it go. If you keep holding on to it, it's going to keep eating away at you like poison. You want to try and let it go. Plus, you also have the ability that whatever you were doing at a time in your life, you were doing the best you could with what you have, whether that was knowledge or skills. You can't think that you could have possibly used what you know now back then and achieved the same thing. Try and have forgiveness for yourself. Number two is awareness of, remember what I said way back in self-sabotage about the critic voice? You want to try and be in a creator voice, that positive cheerleader voice inside your head, not the critic, judgmental bully that's inside your head. Like I said, does a bully motivate you to get better? No, never. Why would you have one inside your head? You want to try and understand the statements that come out your mouth or the thoughts that you think. They're a direct reflection of how your voice is currently playing. So if it's a critic voice, it's negative, it's self-depreciating, and it's beating you down, try and flip the words so that they're in a more positive light, or at least a self-accepting light, because that's going to build you up. If you can flip that emotional state as well, make sure that you're working on whether your emotions are positive or negative. It's going to help you stay in that creator mindset for longer. So yeah, changing the statements. Other things like don't use certain words. Like if you're ever using should or fix or when I, those sort of statements indicate that right now you're not good enough and you're never going to be good enough, because when you get to that next level, then you'll not be good enough there either. You have to try and use statements that encourage you to get better. So even though you're at a certain place right now, it doesn't matter. Next week you want to try a little bit more. You don't use the words I should do this. Think I could do this, or I may do that, or I want to do that. They're all open statements that make you feel that you could walk that way if you wanted to, you could go anyway, but it's not a should, it's not an indication that you have to do it. Because if you do that, then again, you're going to break yourself back down again. And same with fix, you're not broken. You are you at this current moment the way that you are. You're not broken, but you're also not, your true unraveling of yourself. You can also unwrap a few more layers. Plus also, planning ahead, like being organized, can really help you to stay on top of accepting yourself, because you're wanting to go in the direction that you want to go. If you're not aware of who you are, so you've got no self-awareness, you're also not accepting of who you are, both the dark and the light, you probably don't know what you actually want in life. So you'll keep running around each week doing things that don't motivate you, don't make you happy, and don't make you excited. So what does that do? That keeps making you feel that you're not good enough, you're not getting to where you want to go, plus you're not happy. So instead, step back, think what is it you actually want in your life, and start moving in that direction. So it's very important in your fitness goals as well. Like if you want to get stronger, you want to get fitter, you want to get into the gym, work on those habits, and they help to build you up and make you happier. And your circle of influence, again, like I talked about in the self-sabotage, who's around you does affect the voice in your head as well. If you have friends that are quite negative and self-derogatory to themselves or you, then it's probably time to back away from them or have a talk to them about it, because it's not helping them and it's not helping you. It's not a good way to help encourage that beautiful creative voice inside of your head. So try and find either people to be around who are positive or uplifting, who have a good mindset about themselves, or listen to audiobooks, podcasts, and influencers that you resonate with that are encouraging that perspective. Plus also, choose yourself as a priority. Put yourself first. I love the quote, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you are empty and you have nothing inside you to give, then of course you are not going to be able to give to other people. You must always put yourself as a priority with your health, your mindset, and your ability to be you. So try and think, although it may be hard sometimes, if you're like a mum or you have high-powered jobs or anything, you're always putting others in front of you. Take the time to make time for you so that you can be there for others. Always make yourself a priority. I think I just discussed this as well. A very important statement for all of this is, I'll be happy when. Try and get rid of that. Try and say that right now you are as happy as you choose to be, and then you can move forward towards your goals, but don't attach yourself to the accumulation of those goals. What's the right word? Just stop that there.